and the first thing I see is this croc's head just come at me. I didn't hear it. I didn't know it was there, and I'd only been there for 5 minutes, and the thing had come up the side of the rock platform behind me, out of vision, and was stalking me from behind on dry land. So I turned, it's jumped and snapped, and that noise will haunt me forever. I think the snap of its jaws, and it was quicker than your mind can register. It was how quick it was, and it got me, planted its jaws on my thigh, my front thigh on the left leg here. Grabbed me there. We tussled a bit, and I ended up on the ground. I don't have any recollection how it grabbed my calf, but there's another tooth mark that's gone in there. But we were on the ground, and while it had me here, it was trying to swing its body around and drag me into the water at the same time. And I was putting my thumb in its eye socket, because these things are bulletproof, and there's no weakness on them. And the only soft spot I found was its eye socket, so pushing down on its eye socket. At that time, it decided to roll, do the death roll. So it rolled, and as it's rolled, fortunately it hadn't grabbed any bone, it only grabbed soft tissue. Its teeth ripped out of the soft tissue and got caught up in my shorts that I was wearing at the time. So it's rolling, and if you can imagine, I'm lying on the rocks on my back at this stage. It's rolling just there, and I'm trying to get away from it because it's virtually on top. So I'm trying to decide how I can disentangle this thing, and as I did that, it went for another bite. And its second bite, it grabbed me on the wrist, and it's grabbed me about down about here on the lower wrist. And as it's grabbed me, I'm trying with the eyeballs again, and it's decided it's trying to drag me into the water. I'm getting closer to the edge of the water, and then so I'd pushed harder with on its eyeball, and so it's done another death roll. And as it's rolled, it's ripped all the flesh off the top of the hand there, and it was like, I remember looking at it later on and seeing that looks like, you know, when you peel back the flesh, and they do those diagrams in anatomy textbooks, and that's what it looked like. It had just virtually peeled everything off on the top of the hand, broken a couple, minor breaks, but broken a couple of fingers. So once it had rolled a couple of times, I then put my thumb into its eyeball again, and when you go straight down, their eyes retract a fair way, and when you go straight down, you can feel bone in the eye socket. So I felt the bone, and I thought, my thoughts were in my head, I'm going to try and push it into its brain. So I pushed it down as far as my thumb would go, and I don't know whether that made it let go then or not, or whether it was just letting go to have another go, but it let go. At that point, the only thing I could do is I rolled over on top of the thing and pinned its jaws together. And then I think both the croc and I had a moment where we're going, well, what do we do now? But the croc decided to start walking towards the water. So, and it walked towards the water. It was dragging me with it, as if I wasn't there. Fortunately, his hand was still working, and I could hold its jaws together. I sort of while holding its jaws together, I scrambled to my feet, and went with it to the water a bit. It was only going slow. And the only thing I could think to do was, as it got close to the edge of the water, was I picked up its snout as high as I could, and my thoughts were to flick it into the water away from me, because I was worried about it flicking around, having another go, because it was so quick. So I did that. I picked it up as high as I could, which wasn't very high at that time, flicked it, and it slid into the water, never to be seen again. But and then I had a weird moment, because I was wearing Crocs at the time, and I thought, I've got to go and get my Crocs. So I'm looking around in the water trying to fetch my crocs out of the water. But then I think, you idiot. So I had to get to the car, so I just walked off to the car. And there was a fair bit of blood coming out of the thigh and this hand, and this was all exposed. And then that was bleeding as well. So I got to the car and I had an hour's drive to get back to a phone. There's no phone reception whatsoever up there anywhere. I drove back to the house. I was running on adrenaline, I know, but at the end of it I was starting to get a bit woozy, starting to get feel a bit faint. And then I had to get out of the car into the house to get to the phone. I remember it was a real struggle to get up the stairs into the house. Managed to get in there and dial 000. And then I radioed someone else that was on the base, a colleague. He came and helped. So the only way they could get me out is we had to then patch me up and drive me down to Bramwell, which is a cattle station about 80 kilometres south. They've got a lit airstrip. So we had to ring them, tell them we were coming so they could get the cattle off the airstrip, and the plane could get in. So, yeah, and then they patched me up in the plane as best they could, and then I got to Cairns about 1 a.m. Yeah, and I'm very thankful that, because it just missed the ephemeral artery when it tore out of the flesh, and it also, and I've got all 5 fingers and they all move. And there's feeling in all of them, so it could have been a lot worse. I'm just impressed, I'm just impressed with the way that the RFDS handled it, the way that the hospital's been. I'm just thankful to everyone that's helped me, my colleagues. And, people keep telling me to buy a lotto ticket, but I think I've used those points up. This is it. Yeah.